Hey everyone. Okay, so I wanted to come on here just real quick because sometimes it's better to just kind of talk and say what you're going to say as opposed to me typing it up and putting on Telegram. So people constantly are asking me about this Sound of Freedom movie, the Jesus Revolution movie, and I just wanted to come on here and clarify a couple things. Now, here's the thing is so many people come to me and say, "Were you raped by this person? Were you tortured? Give me the details." Like you're sick and you want like the dirty details of what I've gone through. I have constantly, repeatedly said that I don't post anything unless I have the receipts for them. If I don't have the receipts, I don't post it because I don't want to get sued. Okay. Now, let's talk about this the Sound of Freedom movie. Okay. We're going to talk about this one first. People constantly say, people are going to wake up if they watch this movie. They're going to wake up. Same thing with the Jesus Revolution. They're going to wake up. They're going to wake up. They're going to wake up. Are you serious right now? Like, seriously? Are people really delusioned to think that your unawake friends or the unawake people in your life are going to truly wake up to these movies? No, because you know who I saw going to the Jesus Revolution movies? It was all the religious spirits that are controlled by the church, that worship the pulpit, that worship the pastor, and really don't care about humanity in its entirety. And they sure as hell don't care about human trafficking. The same thing with the Sound of Freedom movie. It's kind of like when the Passion of the Christ came out with Jim Caviezel. Who do you think went to it? Do you think that like the prostitutes and the porn stars and the strippers were like, I'm gonna go pay to watch this movie? No, absolutely not. Now here's another question I want to ask people. And I really want you guys to like listen and hear my heart here because I- I'm so over it and it's so exhausting sometimes. Yes, I am out there speaking about my story and things that have happened to me, but constantly people are asking me if I was raped, if this happened. You're because you don't want to do research yourself, okay? And let's talk about the Sound of Freedom here again. You can go to my Telegram page. It takes about 2 to 3 seconds to go to the right of the page, hit search, and type in Tim Ballard's name. You can go see the multiple posts that I have posted within regards to Tim Ballard, how he is connected to Hillary Clinton, how he worked under the Clintons, how he's connected to Hillary Clinton in Haiti, how he's connected to the Mormon Church, how he's connected to all of it. I've connected it all for you. But instead of going and searching it and then going and connecting the dots and even looking on Google, DuckDuckGo, Brave, wherever you look to go see if those things that I'm saying line up. Because even Google, because he worked for the Clintons, shows it. But no, people are too lazy to do that. So what do? Or maybe they're not lazy. I don't know what the issue is, but instead they come to my Telegram page or Facebook page or social media site wherever I'm posting at this point and saying, "Were you raped by them? Were you tortured?" Do you really think that that's okay to ask? If I were your sister or your brother or your mother or your girlfriend or wife or someone that you loved dearly, and I'm speaking out and I'm sharing my testimony and the most horrific parts of my life with the world, do you think it even would be okay for me to go ask your loved ones, "Well, were you raped? Tell me the details," because I can't believe you unless you tell me the details. Because maybe you're trying to harm these ministries, because they're so anointed. No, they're not anointed. They're worth millions and millions of dollars. The ones when we are rescuing these children, the ones that are truly doing it, can barely keep food on the tables for these children because we refuse to contract with the government on a 501(c)(3). We do different ways to be able to help these kids and fund it, and we refuse to sell out to Satan. Now, people can think that their awake friends or I'm sorry, their non-awake friends are really going to pay money to go wake up and see the Jesus Revolution movie or the Sound of Freedom movie. No, they're not. These are traffickers. They are the new deep state. They are connected to the satanic New World Order agenda. If you do just a little bit ounce of research, you will see who they are connected to and what their agenda is. But instead, you come and you ask me, were you raped by them? Were you tortured? Answer all my questions because I'm too lazy to go do a little bit of research myself, or I'm too delusional to think that this person can harm someone else. So you would rather me go relive the most horrific time in my life to let you know who raped me and who tortured me and who attempted to steal my innocence from me because you're too lazy to go do research yourself. I find this to be a huge problem. People wonder why I snap back very quickly on people because, one, I want other women, when children grow up and they have a voice and they become adults and they want to speak up and they want to tell their story and they want to share their story with the world, and men that want to come forward. I want all of these people to come forward and not feel like they're constantly defending themselves because people are so delusioned by this pulpit worship and by these pastor worship and these people that have literally sold their souls to the devil. And instead of questioning those people, you're coming and questioning the ones that have survived it. You're questioning the ones that are standing up to it. You're questioning us instead of doing a little bit of research. Again, it takes a few minutes to go to my Telegram page or Facebook page and search to see the things that I have said within regards to Tim Ballard, Jim Caviezel. And here's the thing, Jim Caviezel, you don't trust celebrities, yet do people even really know about Jim Caviezel? Okay, he was on a hit TV show, Person of Interest, for how many seasons? Do you really think that any celebrity is not selling out? You believe that these other celebrities sold out, but no. You throw around the name Jesus here and there and they all of a sudden, oh, they're so great. Oh, now they're talking about human trafficking. Why are they talking about it now but they weren't talking about it 20 years ago? Because I guarantee you I was trafficked 20 years ago and it was happening. Why didn't they stand up to it? Why haven't they done anything to combat it whatsoever other than doing a movie? Oh, your people are going to be so awake by going and watching this movie. No, they're not. Just like you're awake, the ones that are not awake of your friends and family, they are not going to wake up because of this movie at all. I promise you that. And you're continuing to fund traffickers and saying, oh, well, they're going to wake up because that's what this movie's for and that's what the goal is. Absolutely not. That's not the case at all. And I find it really just beyond, I don't even know what the word is at this point, that people find it okay to continue to ask me if I was raped or tortured by someone when I've constantly said I'm not going to post anything without receipts. And when I'm posting people and I say, okay, this person didn't rape me, I put that they didn't do this, kind of like Joel Olstein when I have shared my story within regards to him and all of that. I am putting it out there, whether you have followed me for years or you're now following me. I'm telling you right now, I don't post things without receipts. And there are a lot of people that have come forward against Tim Ballard. All you have to do is look, but people don't want to. They find it, again, okay to come and say, well, answer this. Were you raped by this person? Give me more detail. Give me more detail. You know what's sick is that you want more detail and that you can't believe when a survivor or a victim comes forward and says, this is what I survived. The thing is, the difference is between me and other victims, and I'm not saying all of them because there is a lot of survivors that I am around right now that are so kick-ass. They're standing up to the system and they are really strong in what they're doing, and they're strong, beautiful, amazing women, and I am proud to know them and be friends with them. But there are other victims that come forward that they're broken and they haven't gone through their healing process, they haven't worked on themselves. So people look at someone like me who has worked on themselves, who really is a warrior for these children. I'm a warrior for Yeshua. I'm a warrior for my children. I'm a warrior for your children. And so they look at me and they find it okay to ask these really inappropriate questions that they would never dare ask anyone in their life that is close to them. They would not go ask their best friend's daughter who said, oh, I was raped. Well, tell me about it. Give me the details. You wouldn't. You would want to be there for them and love them and listen and hear them. So I'm here to tell you, stop defending these pastors that are celebrity pastors, these anti-trafficking organizations that are celebrity anti-trafficking organizations, and all the ones that people are continuing to say that they are supporting and everything else are all connected to the Clintons. Yet the people that are asking me, oh, I believe the Clintons were bad and they've done all of this stuff and that they've killed people and all of this. Yet when you see these people that were connected to them and worked under them and have never said anything negative about them or stood up to the biggest traffickers of our time, yet you think, oh, that's okay. So Tim Ballard and Hillary Clinton were besties, and and Bill Clinton, and he worked under their administration. He was in the three-letter agencies, but sure, you know what? You're right, guys. Sound of Freedom, it's totally going to wake people up. It's totally going to just be this amazing movie. Don't worry. Just remember when you're sitting there eating your popcorn and you think, oh, this is such a great movie and it's shining the light on slavery, it's not, because they're the traffickers themselves. They're the ones that are harming women and children and men. They are the ones hurting humanity. And when you come to a survivor's page, especially one like me, who's standing up to the system and continuously asking me how I was raped and how I was tortured, you're sick. It's disgusting. Knock it off. It's inappropriate. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to believe me. But I can tell you right now, because it's happened time and time and again since I've been speaking out. I have spoke out. I have had these questions. People have called me crazy, everything else. And then they turn around and they come and they apologize to me because the truth comes out. Period. It always comes out. It's going to come out. That's what's going to happen. I'm just really exhausted by it. I didn't want to put this in a writing. I wanted to put it in a video so people can see my face, they can see my heart, and people wonder why I snap back at people like very quickly, because it's exhausting sometimes and I don't always read the comments, and sometimes these are the first comments that I'm reading of people demanding to see proof of my rape and torture and everything else. And then I want to say one more thing is people constantly say, oh, you're coming to ruin their ministry and they're so anointed and all of this. First of all, they're not being attacked publicly with a bunch of people and a bunch of gang stalkers because they are the new deep state rising up. Now, me, someone like me that's being speaking out and telling the truth, I have been doxxed online. I have been harassed. My phone number has been doxxed. My previous address has been doxxed. I have been harassed so much. My character has been assassinated. And you guys come here and say, oh, I'm trying to defame their character, when each and every one of them can't sue me because they know that the receipts would come out in discovery. So what else do they do is they defame my character and they lie about me and they try to destroy what God has built up. But guess what? I am anointed because God's anointed me and he's appointed me, and no one, not one person, is going to steal that. No one's going to steal what God has restored in my life. And I may not look like Jim Caviezel, I may not look like Tim Ballard, I might not look all shiny in this little bow and that I'm this perfect little Christian. You know what? I am rough around the edges, and God made me that way so I could go and I can rescue these babies, and I can have the strength to be able to rescue them and help them on their journey to healing. God made me this way and allowed me to go through the things that I can go through so I can stand here and tell you guys that when you continue to support traffickers like Jim Caviezel, I'm not sorry, not Jim Caviezel. I just don't trust that Jim Caviezel. I'm not saying Jim Caviezel is a trafficker. I just don't trust that he is who he says he is. And there's a lot of receipts there. And yes, I do have a lot of receipts on him, not of being a trafficker, but on his wife. His wife, absolutely. Period. You guys can research that yourself. That's not the point of this. I'm talking about Tim Ballard and all these traffickers. God made me the way I am so I can stand up and I can take the abuse from the people that continue to come on and say, demand that I tell them if I was raped or tortured or what receipts I have on them. You don't have to believe me, but stop, seriously, stop asking me and stop asking survivors for us to prove that we were raped. Why don't you start going asking the ones that we are calling out and our perpetrators why someone like me has come forward? And you know what? Their excuse of, oh, well, she did porn. Yes, I admitted that. I have told that in my testimony. I have written that in my book. I have admitted that from day one, not throwing things in my face or in other people's face of my testimony, but ask them why these women and why these men and some of the children are coming forward and accusing them of these things instead of asking us to constantly prove our most horrific experiences in life and the most horrendous things that you would never be able to survive and demanding us to prove it. Why don't you start rallying behind the survivors and stop supporting these traffickers? You want to go watch Sound of Freedom? Go ahead. But you know what? You're going to have to answer for God because one, they are a part of the satanic agenda. They are a part of the New World Order. They are the new deep state that's rising up. And guess what? I don't care what people say about black hats, white hats, whatever. There's a choice where we are all at right now. We are going to choose to follow the evil, which is right now I'm seeing the pulpit worship and the celebrity worship and everyone looking for a savior outside of the true savior, which is Yeshua, and they're going to end up following them on a one-way ticket to hell, and then there are the other ones that are going to end up in the promised land. We are right now at that Red Sea moment, each and every one of us. So you either choose to support the traffickers or you choose to support the survivors and you choose to stand up to the satanic agenda that they have pushed on each and every one of us. So that's all I had to say. I just hope you guys can hear my heart. Stop, stop, stop. Please stop asking survivors if how we were raped and who raped us and all of that because I have constantly said, and don't forget it, and please share this everywhere, that I will not name anyone unless I have receipts or if I was raped by them myself. And, okay, I have put out there constant timelines and things to connect the dots where you can go easily look for yourself. If you aren't willing to do that, then you have no right, absolutely no right to ask me if I was raped, how I was raped, how many times they raped me, how many times they tortured me. I was trafficked for almost a decade, okay? There is a lot of names on my list. I haven't even gotten through half of them because I'm really kind of sick of people constantly attacking me because they have put their savior, who is a man or woman, on a pedestal and they are not willing to go really look in the mirror and ask God to open their eyes. That's where we're at right now. And so the ones that have written on my social media and say, "Oh, well, I'm going to go watch it." I want you to know this: whether you watch the Jesus Revolution movie or you're watching The Sound of Freedom, when you sat there and you have paid money and you know this now. If you didn't know before, that's not on, you didn't know. But you're knowing now if you're watching this, I'm going to tell you, if you watch it, have anyone go to watch these movies, if you support it, if you share it, anything, when a woman from them or a child or a man is being raped, tortured, and then killed, because you decided to fund the traffickers, you are going to have to answer to God for that. I don't have to tell you how many times I was raped. I do not have to tell you how many times I was tortured. I do not have to get into that. Yes, I have chosen to share my story with the world. I have shared my story because I want to empower other survivors to come forward and tell their stories and so that they can make change truly happen in this world. And that is what I am aspiring to. That is what I want to happen, is for change to happen. I want these churches to fall. I want these fake anti-trafficking organizations that are Clinton backed and Clinton run and Clinton funded to fall. Okay. OUR, the A1, all of these people backed by the Clintons needs to fall. It is a satanic agenda, whether you want to believe me or not. But for the love of God, please stop asking survivors for us to demand, or demanding us to prove to you that we were raped and tortured, because that is wrong. And most women and children and men that have been abused, raped, tortured, stalked, don't have proof of it because they don't have a camera out with them 24/7. They have to go to the police, and their word is good enough, even in the corrupt courts of law that really don't have authority over us. But even in those courts, their word is and testimony is enough to convict, period. So you are the problem, and why rape victims and stalking victims and domestic violence victims and different women and children and men don't come forward, because you constantly demand that they prove that they were raped and especially when it's a prominent figure, it's prove it, prove it, prove it, because you have then put a man or woman on a pulpit and started to worship that woman or man. And so when someone that is broken and hurting comes and says, "This is what happened to me," you refuse to believe them because you put man, woman on a pulpit. Now, obviously, I am only speaking to those that cannot see outside of themselves, that demand answers from victims and refuse to demand answers from the perpetrators. So when I'm saying you, I'm not speaking to all of you, because there are some really amazing people that have supported me, and I have seen you guys for years, and I know I can't comment on all of them, but I just want you to know I see you, I love you, I appreciate you giving me a voice. And for the other ones, you really need to go get off social media, and you really need to maybe get on your knees and ask Yeshua to open your eyes, because then you will truly open your eyes to the evil that has gone on in this world and how much that the new deep state is rising up. Whatever you believe, there is always going to be war and famine and everything else until we truly wake up out of this matrix and say, "Oh my gosh, here is where the evil lies. Here is where the evil is." And unfortunately, right now, it is the churches and the anti trafficking organizations that are pushing the satanic agenda, and we're not even paying attention. So I hope you guys receive this. I hope that you understand what I am saying. Please stop re-victimizing. And I am not a victim. I am not saying I am a victim, but when you re-victimize victims, this is what silenced them, and this becomes a pain for them, where they're constantly silenced and feel tortured inside because people aren't listening and won't believe them. So you don't have to believe me about Sound of Freedom or the Jesus Revolution movie, but guess what? Truth always comes out, and the truth has already come out within regards to Tim Ballard. People just aren't paying attention, and people aren't doing the research that they should. I don't have the time to do it for you. I've posted it already, and you can connect the dots. So I appreciate all of you no matter what. I pray that this war ends soon, and everything I do is so that the children that I rescue, when they grow up and they become young men and young women, if they decide that they want to stand in their power and say, "This is what happened," and go help others, that they can do that without constantly being told, "Prove that you were raped when you were a child, prove that you were hurt when you were a child, prove that you were trafficked, prove that you were raped." But they will actually be believed because they're walking in that truth and they're walking in that power. Period. I love you all. Have a blessed night.